to the world that's full of clones. My originality's focused on principalities broken. I'm loaning my heart and soul to the game that's scared to pay it back. And failure is a motherfucker. The strength to go on and believing in another sucker.
Man. It's just two of us today.
It's been a while.
It almost feel off. Like just a little bit. It almost feel off. But
nah,
it's
the
still,
song brought it back.
Oh yeah, but it's still motherfucking hump day, aka Wednesday, aka you already know what it is.
Happy Gentleman's Talk Wednesday.
Yes, sir. And I'm gonna be the first one to do it. So fuck all the rest of y'all. And I'm gonna say a super early ass happy birthday to my motherfucking co-host next to me over there, because he about to turn the fuck up this weekend.
You know it.
I ain't gonna get to see him until he come back, but it's cool. It is what it is. I am, of course, still and will forever be the CEO of FRFO. Google it if you don't know what the hell it means.
And I am the birthday boy. Turn up, DJ Michael B. Let's go.
Man, we back at it again. And like I always say, it's like we never left. But today is a little different. Today we kind of get to talk about just how crazy the last 2 months have been.
Yeah.
Because we have went from the round of 32 to continuing the From the Sidelines Chronicles to dropping the Dynasty episode. And don't worry, we got another round of 32 coming for y'all. We'll talk about that we'll talk about that towards the end of the show. Don't worry, we got something special for y'all for that. But I just want to kind of take a back seat a little bit and just kind of recap some of the moments. Like I just feel like we got a lot accomplished in a short amount of time.
We did. We finally got to sit down one night and we planned out our shows for the next 2 months. And it would have been a regular show probably a week earlier had we not split the round of 32 into three days, because we definitely needed 3 weeks for that one. So
yeah, and probably gonna be the same for the next round of 32. Not to mention the TikTok has been absolutely on fire. I've never just seen like how social media just really makes things just kind of go. So that is a shout out to all of our fans out there who continue to like and comment even I've seen people favorite and save videos from us. And I'm like, man, that's pretty dope. We appreciate y'all. Like on average, we can post a video and within 15, 20 minutes, it's already closing in on 1,000 views. So that tells us that we're doing something right.
Yep.
Because without you guys, we wouldn't have had our first TikTok that blew up and got over 10,000 views. Then we had a second one follow that one up and get over 5,000. Then we had another one follow it up and get over 3,000. Like it's been all because of you guys. Like it's been great. So that part's been fun.
Oh yeah.
But I want to direct this question first to you.
Okay.
Of all of the From the Sideline Chronicles we did, which one was your favorite?
I think my favorite was probably I want to say my favorite is Zamora.
Okay. Why you say that?
I say Zamora just because, number one, you don't see a lot of females. Well, you see a lot more now, but you know, as we're growing up, you didn't see a lot of female sportcasters out there, and she obviously has carved out a nice lane for herself. But just to hear more about her relationship with her dad, and she was a daddy's girl, and that's why she got into sports, and she was at games with her dad, and that's that. I didn't know what got her into sports. Like as a man, you kind of just know we kind of attracted to sports. Like just it's kind of just it's a norm. But to hear a woman say why she got into it and describe how she got into it, that stuff that we never really hear, it was pretty interesting. Also, I would like to say Mel's as well, because we found out a lot about Mel, his background, his wife, Mel's family is filled with a lot of talent in that interview. So I did enjoy that one.
I'd have to say right off the bat, for me, actually, it was Mulich. Because Mulich truly felt like when that interview was done, it felt like another brother for us. Like, and I say that not to say anything like diminishing anything about our other From the Sidelines family, but the things that we have in common is very similar to exactly what our brotherhood back here talks about.
Yeah, it is
on the motherfucking regular. So it's like we could have randomly like met Mooley somewhere out in public, and he would have blended into the conversation like perfectly.
Yeah.
So it was just like the energy was there, the vibes were there, like everything about it was just, it really was just like talking to another brother, like, and that was the beauty of the whole thing. We know him, with his learning about his family, him still being a big time football guy and all
Right.
he does, a big anime guy, big music guy, just very well versed in a lot of things. And it's another one of those classic situations where you never truly can judge a book by its cover.
That's
And
true.
that's literally our brother Woolidge in a nutshell.
Who would have thought Lil Wayne would have been our brother now?
Baby, please say the baby. But I think the second one for sure for me was actually yours.
Wow.
Yours, because it was just fun to listen and hear everything from, mostly hearing everything from your point of view, and just like really kind of just in my mind kind of envisioning all this. Like, yeah, we know, we'll say 97% of pretty much everything about each other, but then there's
That's
always
true.
nuances of things that we don't know, like, so it was good to just kind of listen to that, and then just kind of see just how, looking at everything that's happened in our lives, how much stuff that you and I have accomplished and gone through and whatever, how truly intertwined our lives are. And a lot of people don't
For
know.
real.
Like, a lot of people do not really grasp just how intertwined our lives are. Like, full disclosure, DJ Micah B was in my first wedding. He was one of my groomsmen.
Yeah.
Yes, I said my first wedding because I have been married twice. Yes, that's not a secret. If you've been paying attention since we started this whole podcast thing, good and hell well I have been married, divorced, and married again. It's not a shock, surprise, anything about that. And then there was some shit that happened in the middle, but that's neither here nor there.
I guess it might be a surprise to some people from the sideline that watch us now before. After now. So,
but it is what it is. Like, I am an adult, and adults go through things, and I don't regret anything that's happened in my life. Everything happened for a reason.
As you shouldn't.
Like, you don't get to the points in life where you are because, oh man, I wish that wouldn't have happened. No, you needed that to happen. 100%. And it's okay.
That's why I live with no regrets. And I think everybody should live with no regrets as well.
Yeah. 100%. Who, from our, still staying on this from the Sidelines Chronicles thing, who do you think had the most, let me see, what's the way I want to look at it? Who had the most shock value?
I would say probably Boo Wop. I would say Boo Wop. And the reason why I would go with Boo Wop is because, first of all, Boo Wop is only on one show a week for the most part, unless they ask him, unless he can make another show and they ask him to do it. So he's only on one show. So that's the person we get to like literally sit back and talk to and interact the least other than Zamora as well, because she has her own show and nobody else is on her show. But for the most part, I used to pop up on Zamora's show all the time, so we used to sit back and talk all the time. But Boo Wop was an interesting one. Like, even ever since we did From the Sideline Chronicles of Boo Wop, I've sat back and talked to Boo Wop a whole bunch more now, even after the shows on Monday. So I want to say Boo Wop's was yeah, I did enjoy his too, but his shock value to see his personality. You hear a low, deep, slow, thoughtful voice, and to hear him just sit back and tell his story and cut up, show his personality, was very shocking, because I was like, I would have never guessed this dude was so funny.
Yeah.
I know he's petty.
Yeah. That much we do know. So, no, and that's always, it's always interesting. And like, I guess if I'm looking at it from a shock value, this is where I would say it would be Zamora for me. There was a lot, like, just kind of sitting back and listening, and you kind of touched on some of the points too, just the ties to sports because of her dad, and having so much love for the game of basketball before, and obviously her obsession with the overweight strip club loving beard, but that's neither here nor there either. It's a discussion for another never day. But who do you think, if we went back and did it again, who do you think would be the most fun if we did like a round 2?
Oh, this is easy. This one is easy for me. It's going to be Troy, because whenever we
Yeah.
first did Troy, it was more of a from the sidelines type interview. It wasn't more of a personal type interview for him. So when we go back and we do this again, Troy will absolutely be the most fun.
Oh yeah. Depending on which person shows up, you know.
And I want petty Troy that does not rank active players.
I might want Whiskey Troy for that conversation.
Oh yeah, I like Whiskey Troy.
Speaking of Whiskey Troy, so this past weekend we had ourselves a from the sidelines first encounter.
Yep.
So Troy and Mel met up for the first time, and we say Whiskey Troy because we all have these other, we'll call them alternate personalities.
I got drunk Micah, so I get
it. Yeah, you know it. Yeah, I got Mr. Worldwide. We ain't gonna talk about what that means. Just
go back and watch your chronicles.
Just you understand. But the fact that those two met up for the first time, and you know, and he talked about the welcoming environment of Mel's family and everything like that, and Troy having the time of his life, and you know, he needed that, you know, that temporary escape, you know.
Yeah.
Something that we all need in life. Sometimes we just need a legitimate escape from reality.
I'm not gonna lie. This is kind of where I miss doing the podcast on Wednesdays at your house.
Oh yeah.
In the back cave.
Yeah. 100%. And hell, at the same time that Troy and Mel was having the time of their life, I was doing the same. I was up there in San Antonio having the time of my life.
You seen the picture, the video at my party? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was having a ball.
Yeah. So like, it's like everybody was kind of just living vicariously through each other.
Yeah.
Despite everybody being, you know, all kinds of different places. So it was good. It was fun. My wife had a great time on Saturday too. That Moscato got to kicking and rocking and rolling, and she got to rocking and rolling. So no complaints from this guy.
None, huh?
None whatsoever. We was able to have a kid-free weekend. Like, as a parent, all my parents out there know exactly what I'm talking about. When you have a kid-free weekend and you are in a different city that is not the one you live in, and you in a hotel that's real nice, fancy as hell, and you at these nice, cool functions, and you ain't got nothing to worry about.
Hey, your kids can't even call you to come save them if something is going on.
I'm trying to tell you, so you can just literally let your hair down, or in my case, just let the fade flow. But
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you know, but that's just how it is. But you know, continuing on with how insane these last few months again have been going is, I want to go back to the round of 32 now.
Yeah, man. I love the round of 32 is a great thing that we did. I think it brought a lot of attention, and it helped us solidify our footing and what we could potentially do, because every other show talks a lot about sports, and we're more of the talk show, the funny show, where people get on and they show out their personalities and things like that, and connect with the everyday person. So the round of 32 was great.
Oh yeah, no, without question. And it's like you already said, you know, we were able to sit back one day and just plan. And the fact that we were able to sit down and plan for the next couple months, and we just kind of came up with this concept, and we're like, how should we do this? And then all of a sudden, when that list was put together, it was like, oh, this shit gonna be dope. Like, this shit gonna be dope. And I don't think the show would have had the same energy it did without having Moo and having Outlaw Prime. Like, I think, like, I'm not saying that you and I couldn't have rocked it, but it just was that much better having that legitimate round table in the round of 32. And then, of course, unveiling for the first time the Gentleman's Talk wheel.
Yeah.
Added some necessary controversy to the round of 32.
Oh, it definitely did.
I absolutely appreciated and loved the comments from the fans. There were some upset people about them upsets, especially about Doug and SpongeBob. There was some upset people.
To hell with SpongeBob. SpongeBob lost. Hey, that was the 16th seed beating the 1 seed, bro.
Hey, and it happened. It actually happened. So
my biggest surprise was that Justice League actually made it to the Final Four. Going in, I didn't think Justice League was going to make it to the Final Four. And, you know, I said it over and over again. I thought they wouldn't go. I didn't. I think Justice League is okay. I think Young Justice is just great. But when we narrowed down, got to the final four, and I do think no matter what we're going to do, no matter who made it to the final four, those two that we ended up with Batman and Pokemon, it was going to come down to those two no matter what.
Yeah,
and then the wheel determined Batman.
It wouldn't have made any sense if it did not come down to literally two iconic childhood defining shows. And both of those shows did absolutely that. So there was no shock when that actually happened. And honestly, I didn't think there was a shock as far as who won.
I didn't either. I knew, it's kind of like whenever you get to the final four of the NCAA, and we got to the final four. I can't remember all 14. I can't remember all four. I think it was Justice League.
It was Justice League, Pokemon, Batman,
and Teen Titans.
No, I think Teen Titans actually. I thought I don't know Teen Titans. No, I think Teen Titans lost, I believe, to Batman.
Oh, okay.
If I remember correctly, yeah.
Regardless, though, it was more like when you got down to the final four, any one of them damn shows could win. On any given day, you bring other people in, any one of them four shows could win. And for those, I've seen the comments like, that's only 32 shows. Yeah, we got the best of the rest. We're going to do it eventually. I promise you we will. We did leave out a good bit of cartoons. Codename Kid Next Door. I forgot about Shaolin Monks, the Jackie Chan Adventures. Like we did Samurai Jack.
Yeah.
Like just there's a lot that sat out. I mean, I don't really care for cow and chicken, but I mean, whatever.
Hey man, cow and chicken.
I mean, just there's a lot of cartoons that got left out. So I'm just
saying, without cow and chicken, I don't know if you get Phineas and Ferb either, because Cow and Chicken was one of them original shows that did the alternate characters.
Yeah,
Super Cow.
Then they got like Rocko's Modern Life. I don't think it was on our original round of 32.
No.
So I mean, there's a good bit. Our Real Monsters. Like people forget about Our Real Monsters. So
yeah, man, the big homie Grumble holding them eyes up, man.
Yeah, man, I could not remember that dude name to save my life. Thank you, because I was thinking about that all day.
I got you. Yeah, I mean, and so when we finally do put together the best of the rest, don't hold your breath. It ain't gonna happen like immediately, because we're gonna actually have to sit down and make sure we legitimately don't leave out the best of the rest. Because I imagine that one could be even more fun / compelling than the original, just because of all the shows, a mixture of shows. So time will tell.
Most definitely, no repeats. So
no.
Yeah.
We'll have both brackets side by side. We'll make sure there's definitely no repeats, because that would just
facts.
Now, the interesting part becomes like, do you throw a show in now like Justice League Unlimited in the best of the rest, or do you leave it out? Like that's a legitimate discussion we have to have. Is like, are we allowing shows like that? Do you throw in a show like Young Justice now? Like, how do we go about some of these things? Yes, these are Young Justice came out when we were a little bit older, but Justice League Unlimited came out while we were younger.
Yep.
So I don't know. Conversations we got to have behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, like even there's a lot of shows. Like I made the comment in the round of 32 about the Tick, and a lot of people don't remember the Tick, but I remember
the FX version of that one too, when the live action version of the Tick.
Freakazoid, Wayne Head. Like there's a lot. There's a lot. Left out there.
We didn't put Static Shock on there either.
I don't think we put Static Shock or Spider-Man the animated series. Did we?
No. That would have changed a lot in this bracket.
Yeah. So
Spider-Man and Static Shock would have made some definite changes in this bracket.
And like I said,
somebody we got left out.
And like I said, Jackie Chan Adventures is a big one for me. I loved it.
That is a absolute sleeper for the upcoming tournament.
Yeah.
So speaking of tournament, I don't know if you've been keeping up, but there were some changes that happened in the other Dynasty League that we're in, not from the sideline Dynasty, but the other one that we're in, the
I gotta find a way to log back into that because I don't have a way to. I've been trying to get back into my sleep and I could not remember what email I used. And every time I type my email in, it was like this email. I didn't use that email. So I'm just like,
we draft in like 8 days. So, you
I know. I gotta get in.
So it went from a 12-team dynasty to a 10-team dynasty. So the commissioner Mitch had jumped back in. He finally responded to my message, even though I had already added you to the dynasty league anyway. And he was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." I was like, "Well, I already added him, so you kind of late." Like, you ain't say nothing, so I took silence and acceptance and I threw him in there. But so our draft positions changed again, obviously because we dropped with 10. So
yeah,
you actually have draft position 10. I now have draft position 4. I'm like, all right. Some new guy that got added to the league, Miranda, got drafted. He got the number 1 spot, and he immediately dropped like the devil emoji or whatever. And I was like, well, I guess we'll see. But I can
somebody
tell you
should let him know. Even though he drafts number 1, you gotta wait 19 picks pretty much before you get to draft again.
Give or take, yeah. But I'm like, I'm content being number 4. I prefer being in the middle of a draft anyway.
I do too. I would have preferred to be number 5.
So I'm content being 4. It gives me an idea. No matter what, I have a shot at 6 possible players to start my dynasty team with. So I'm not mad. Like I've actually been legitimately planning who I think I may be taking in that particular one. But on the flip side, we have 11 days until the From the Sidelines pod draft. And that one right there, ladies and gentlemen, will be live. If you ain't watching, I'm telling you right now, shit gonna get real.
Boy, we're gonna be talking a whole bunch of shit.
Oh, yeah, without
especially
question.
Between me and you, because we draft back to back.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna end up doing with that one is I'm gonna actually I'm gonna have the screen up, and I'm gonna put that screen up as it's gonna take the entire screen. And all you're gonna do is hear us in the background talking shit, whatever it is we're gonna be doing. But that way everybody's watching what's going on. It's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Did you see Jew Fresh's team name for this one?
No, I didn't.
His is A Tighten Up Hopkins. So yes, if you guys been keeping up with us, you guys know who Jew Fresh is. You know that the one behind the theme song of In My Zone, who was also on the Dynasty show that we had 2 weeks ago now.
Yep. Surprise, because I sent him the link, like, get in.
Yeah.
I bet you was like, what the hell?
So that one was dope. Then we have my money league, right? So money league is back up and running. It's a very expensive league. I don't care anybody. This it's $150 buy-in. Like it's an expensive motherfucking
I just seen somebody today looking for 3 more people for their money league. It was $140 buy-in.
Yeah, I do one money league per year because that's money out of my pocket. I don't like just But with that particular league, I believe where'd it go? I think I'm drafting I'm drafting like number 11. We're at 12 team. I'm drafting number 11 in this one. I was like, that's kind of rough. But I'm like, it is what it is. I'll figure it out. But I have a new team name for this particular league. And it is Aaron Hernandez's Taxi Service.
Ah. Wow. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yo.
If you haven't learned by now about me, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to these names, I will go dark. I will go raunchy. I don't give a fuck. But what it will be is entertaining.
So while we're on the topic, of fantasy football, I know we don't talk a lot of football anymore and stuff like that, but while we're on the topic of fantasy football, Yahoo's writer Justin, I can't remember his last name. So Justin Edwards.
Okay.
Justin Edwards released his top 10 pick projections based on a bunch of mock drafts. And so I'm gonna read them off to you, and you let me know. Do you think somebody needs to, slide off and get in, or you think that's correct and it's just not in the right order, or if it's the right order, whatever it is?
Let's go.
I think this is for PPR leagues.
Okay. PPR
So
ratings. My
Yeah,
favorite.
I know because I've never done PPR before. So his top 10. You want me to start at 10? You want me to start at 1?
Start wherever you like. I'm with it.
All right. So at number 10, Saquon Barkley, New York Giants.
Okay.
Number 9, Jamar Chase, Cincinnati Bengals. Number 8, Tony Pollard, Dallas Cowboys. Number 7, Bijan Robinson, Atlanta Falcons. Number 6, Derrick Henry, Tennessee Titans. Number 5, Nick Chubb, Cleveland Browns. Number 4, Christian McCaffrey, 49ers. Number 3, surprise, Austin Eckler, the Chargers. Number 2, your man, Cooper Kupp, Los Angeles Rams. And number 1, and this has been the number 1 consensus for damn near everybody, Justin Jefferson, Minnesota Vikings.
I have an issue with Jamar Chase being so low. First and foremost, I don't think Jamar Chase should be that low.
I think Jamar Chase. I think Jamar Chase dropped because Joe Burrow is going to be out for a couple of games. Which I know
I don't think that makes a motherfucking difference.
I know you, but you plan for the back half of your team to get rolling in the back half of the season anyway. But a lot of people don't draft that way.
See, and I would also drop Saquon out of the top 10.
Surprisingly, I thought Saquon should probably move up. I thought Jamar Chase and Saquon should probably move up ahead of Bijan Robinson and Tony Pollard. I'm not going to lie. And the reason why I thought Saquon should move up.
Yeah, actually, so I spoke incorrectly. Tony Pollard needs to drop because Saquon is definitely, I think, more valuable than Tony Pollard for PPR sake.
Right.
But a name that people need to put some respect on, I guess we'll say for the sake of PPR, is Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yes.
And he should be on somebody's top 10 list, even if he makes your tier 2 of your PPR rankings, whatever the case might be. But Amon-Ra St. Brown is a name that people need to keep paying attention to. Because
especially in a dynasty league.
He ain't going nowhere.
Especially in a dynasty league. He's up there. So
I didn't hear you say CeeDee Lamb.
No, CeeDee Lamb is not on the list.
I also feel like as much Cowboy slander as we love to do, let's keep it a buck. Value is value, and CeeDee Lamb brings value in PPR. Without question. Obviously, in my mind, just like everybody else's mind, Justin Jefferson is the consensus number 1, no matter if it's standard, PPR, half PPR. Don't really fucking matter what it is.
At this point, it doesn't really matter if it's a dynasty league either.
But no, it doesn't because of his age.
Yeah.
So, for the most part, he's still been going the consensus, as they say, 1.01. The few drafts where he doesn't go number 1 is because people are still taking a guy like Travis Kelce. Just because you know what you're going to get once you draft the top 2 tight ends, it like drops off dramatic. And this is probably the deepest the wide receiver position has been in a very long time. So you can gamble and take a guy like Travis Kelce first because there's still going to be plenty of quality wide receivers. Now, there's only like 3 wide receivers that'll probably give you over 25 points a game as long as they're hot. Now, granted, Justin Jefferson did have 5 games where he was not he wasn't a top 10 guy because it's just the way the Viking season was going.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson was hella inconsistent, but when he put up big numbers all year. If you go back and look at his numbers, but fantasy wise, he was just so like he'll have a drop off game where he doesn't put up a big number, but he'll come back the next game and just be a freaking monster. And you're like, where the hell was this guy last week when he cost me the game?
So the crazy thing is still, if Cooper Kupp doesn't get injured last year, Cooper Kupp is still the consensus 1.01. Last year in PPR, do you know what Cooper Kupp's lowest scoring game was prior to the injury? 16.
Oh, wow.
Cooper Kupp was averaging 28 points per game. He had 3 games where he had put up 30 points or more. I know he was on my PPR team last year until he got hurt. I was very upset because
the boy can play.
Listen, I had Cooper Kupp and Javonte Williams last year in this same money league I was just talking about. And if both of those guys stay healthy, I win that league last year. Because I had Javonte and I had Nick Chubb. And I still have Miles Sanders. But it's okay. But, I mean, I guess his top 10 is fine for most people, but there's a few people I would take out. Like I said, I want a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown to finally get that respect he deserves. I think Austin Eckler should be higher. Austin Eckler still, in the last couple seasons, still leads in touchdowns. Like, this man has 38 touchdowns. He has more touchdowns than most receivers.
Facts.
Like, he's that guy. Like, say what you want to say about, whatever it is, but Austin Eckler scores touchdowns. And anybody who's scoring that many touchdowns over the last couple seasons, that's crazy.
So I kind of want to go ahead. My bad.
No, I was just saying, if you think his value doesn't go up with a guy like Kellen Moore in the mix, you didn't watch the Cowboys play very much.
So I'm kind of interested to hear your take on the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay,
and,
which part?
And just drafting players from the Atlanta Falcons this year, especially somebody like Pitts, because now you have Bijan Robinson, and everybody's projecting Bijan Robinson to be very good.
Bijan is going in some dynasty drafts as the 1.01 if you're not drafting Justin Jefferson. I understand the reasoning. And the reasoning is very simple. So you guys know, and Micah knows, I listen to a lot of different podcast shows. I just do a lot of reading. Like, I learn things. So I'm going to drop his name real quick. His name is Mike Clay. So Mike Clay is on the Fantasy Football Now show, and I listen to that show religiously because I spend 28% of my day behind a steering wheel driving. So that's when I catch up on a lot of the fantasy stuff. So something that he said that made all the sense in the world. Every single running back that was ever drafted in the top 10 of the draft, the actual NFL draft, was a top 10 fantasy running back.
That's interesting.
So
you mean their rookie year, right?
Because you don't draft a running back in the first round to not use them.
No, I'm just asking, like, but is that just for their rookie year?
No, that's just like that's what ends up happening. Like for their rookie year, they've ended up being like they finished in the top 10.
Okay.
Like it's been like it's ridiculous. Like, but it's like it makes sense because you think about guys like AJ Peterson, you can think about all these guys that went, and you're like, okay, yeah, I guess I kind of get it. So it's like you understand why in Dynasty you would take a guy like Bijan if you're playing to win now.
You know what's crazy? The reason why I said their rookie year is because I remember, and I don't think this is going to happen to Bijan Robinson. So I want to preface my comments by saying I don't think it's going to happen to Bijan Robinson. But bro, Trent Richardson. That's why I asked you, like, they got to be top 10 in their rookie year, because Trent Richardson might be the anomaly to this to this theory. I believed wholeheartedly that Trent Richardson was going to be Adrian Peterson when he came out of college, bro.
Or Derrick Henry before he was there before Derrick Henry.
Yeah, and that you know every era has their all-time bust, but
yeah,
this is like a damn the era. Trent Richardson was just like an all-time great bust. Like, I never understood it. He went to the Colts and forgot how to play football. But
yeah,
speaking of,
I wanted to go back on because you asked about the Falcons and drafting their players. I can tell you because I am in I think this year I'm doing 6 fantasy leagues. I have bought stock in Kyle Pitts. and Drake London. I bought stock in both. I have not been able to draft Bijan, and I'm okay with that because of where my draft position ends up. But I do have stock in Kyle Pitts, because where Kyle Pitts has fallen, you're able to kind of catch him at a good time. So you're not reaching. So right now on ESPN, I believe Kyle Pitts is as much as like the 25th or 26th tight end, just because of all the injuries and like everything else. Like he's just very low. So I've absolutely been able to scoop him up, and he's healthy. The questionable designation has finally been taken off of him. So he is fully healthy. My only concern with him is the way the offense is set up. You're talking about the offense that was the number one rushing team last year, and they did not throw the ball a lot. But yet and still, when they did throw the ball, Drake London was the beneficiary, not Kyle Pitts. So Kyle Pitts was the number 33 ranked tight end currently on ESPN right now. But he's also looked at as somebody that, like I said, you can draft him late. You're taking a flyer. You're kind of hoping for the best. So I've changed my strategy in a couple of my fantasy leagues, but I have taken a lot of stock in Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is a phenomenal athlete. Kyle Pitts is a unicorn, to say the least. And it's because of his size and his speed, and he has the ability to be a legitimate threat. Maybe, just maybe, and I hope that Atlanta, I don't really care if Atlanta does this or not, but maybe he doesn't end his career in Atlanta, and he ends up with the right team that utilizes him the way he needs to be utilized, because he absolutely should be in that conversation with your Kelce's and your Andrews and whatnot. He 100% should. But he was injured. We know this, but now he's fully healthy. He's participating. The question is Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, it is.
That's really it. But at the same time, you and I know this from being around football and just being around fantasy for a while. Young quarterbacks favor their tight ends as a good check down, and their running backs.
That's what I was just about to say.
Which means Bijan, which means Kyle Pitts, and it also means damn it, how I forget his name. I drafted him too in one of my leagues. The running back from last year, Tyler Algier.
Yeah.
So I drafted him in a couple of leagues as the ultimate. He is going in a lot of drafts as the number one handcuff running back to draft, because yes, Bijan is still a rookie. If Bijan gets any kind of injury, Tyler Algier showed us last year what kind of numbers he can put up if he's the lead back in the number one rushing offense from last season. So I do have Tyler Algier in 2 of my leagues, and it was just because I was able to pick him up in like the 15th or 16th round or something like that.
You know what my fare is if you pick if you pick either one of Atlanta's running backs. My fare is that they'll do like a Cleveland Brown type deal with how they split it with Kareem Jackson and Nicholas Chubb. And sometimes Nicholas Chubb would do all the work to get 50, 60 yards down the field, and then Kareem Jackson will punch that shit in. And Kareem Jackson walks away with more points. Yeah, and Kareem Jackson will walk away with more points in that drive than Nick Chubb will. I mean, in our league, that's kind of fixed, because if you break for a long run, and you get extra points for breaking for a long run. But if you just play like the standard Yahoo or the standard ESPN league with the regular rules, Nick Chubb could rush for 80 yards, and then Kareem Jackson could basically have first down, touchdown, and there we go. And he ends up with more yards on the drive.
This will be an interesting year for a lot of drafts. Like I said, I know just like you, like I'm legitimately ecstatic for these 2 dynasty leagues more than anything else.
I am too.
I've never got to put my GM hat on and build a team that I'm actually going to keep. So like it's not like our other leagues that we're in. You know, we're drafting and like, oh, okay, I know who to not draft next year. Like, no. If I don't want somebody, I have to decide if I want to drop him or potentially trade him. Like, I'm really curious about the draft pick trading. Like, when is that first trade going to take place? Like, who's going to be that guy? Whether it's from the Sidelines Dynasty League or it's in the other Dynasty League that we're in, I'm just looking forward to that.
It's probably going to be me.
It's not going to be me. I'm telling you that right now.
That's probably going to be me, because I don't think in either one of these drafts I'm building to win in the first 2 years.
Yeah. Well, you have an idea of how I'm drafting. We had a conversation about it.
Yeah.
and I'm content. I'm content with that. Well, at least from the sideline. In the other one we're in, that one's got to be different because I was talking with the GM of the commissioner of that league, and I'm like, it is a completely different strategy to draft 10 team versus 12 team, 100%. Because there's, depending on your draft position, there are a lot more players off the board by the time you're up to draft, and you got to think about the turn now. Like now, it also depends. Are you in a linear draft? Are you in a snake draft? There's all these other factors involved, but you do have to draft a little differently when it's a 12-team league. And I don't know how some of these cats play these 15, 16-team leagues. Like that shit just seems like you're literally going to be like one, maybe 2 star players, and you're really throwing darts in the dark. And like you're hoping for the best. But I've always wanted to like kind of just sit in and watch one of those drafts because I just want to see what the strategy is. Like when 16 teams, meaning everybody could go quarterback. Realistically, you could. It'd be dumb. It'd be dumb if you did that. You take all the star players, then when do quarterbacks come off the board? In a 16-team league. Because because you could lose out. You legitimately could lose out on a quarterback if you don't take one at a certain time.
That's how I'm feeling from the sidelines league. I don't know. Besides you, obviously, because we're in the league over and over again. I don't know how any of them will draft. And it's like a brand, because normally in our gentlemen's league, we pretty much bring back pretty much the same players every year. And when you play with people for a while, you kind of know this person's going, especially if you're scratching the team every single year and starting from scratch, how most fantasy leagues are if they don't do a dynasty. That's how it is. So, I mean, I don't know what to expect. I'm just mad your GOAT won't be in it because I was going to kick his ass regardless.
Oh, yeah, no, I was going to kick his ass all the way up and down the street.
He was going to go 0-12 or whatever the fuck it was going. He was going to lose every game.
Oh, he's going to be like Detroit Lions that year?
Yeah. Every game.
Yeah, no, I am curious to see how, just from listening to, like, of course, because, I'm on Inside the Huddle. So, listening to Mel and Moolage talk football, knowing how you and I talk football, I have an idea of how the 4 of us are going to draft, but we still have, you've got Wayne, you've got Sports Talk. You've got, and Jew Fresh is in this league, so we know how Jew drafts. I don't know how DJ Prime drafts.
I don't know. I
don't know how Tyrone, a fan of the show, I don't know how he drafts.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
But I will say this. This is what I'm going to say. And this is just me going bold prediction. This is a bold prediction. Someone's drafting a quarterback in the second round. Someone's going to do it. In the From the Sidelines dynasty, someone's going to draft a quarterback in the second round.
I think somebody's going to draft a quarterback in the first round.
You know what? I hope they do.
Because then
they're going to miss out on another player that might fall to one of us. Because I didn't realize that until I was watching. I was listening because sometimes I'll watch the Fantasy Football Focus show if I'm around and I can see it on YouTube, but most times I listen to it. And Field Yates had said this, and I didn't even think about it this way until, and you were the perfect example because you did this with Josh Allen last year. He's like, the danger of drafting a quarterback early is, first thing you got to think about is what other players were going in that same spot, like regular receivers, running backs, whatever the case might be. But now you're almost scrambling for the rest of the draft because you taking a quarterback, you might make somebody else take a quarterback, or they're going to keep building. And then all of a sudden towards the end of the draft, you're hurting because you either, you missed out on that star tight end, or you missed out on, maybe you have a bunch of wide receiver 2s and you don't have a wide receiver 1, or maybe you have a bunch of, or there are people who legitimately draft a 0 running back strategy. So they will load up their rosters and then they will kind of pick up a bunch of running back like 2, maybe 3s. And I'm like, that sounds crazy. But it works for some people. And then, there's like people like me, like, I was a defensive streamer guy for a long time. Like I'll just stream defenses. I don't really give a shit.
I still kind of do that, but last year was the first. Last year I said I was going to do that, but I just ended up with like 2 good defenses. I forgot which 2, but I had 2 very good defenses last year because I think did I end up with the Eagles defense? I can't remember if I ended up with the Eagles, but I had 2 good defenses that they were both top 5 in getting people out on 3 and outs, and they were, I think, like both of them were top 10 in turnovers, takeaways. So
yeah.
But like I've said over and over again, only reason why I took Josh Allen is because I was not expecting to have the number 1 pick when we started, and I was like, man, normally I draft every year we've done this draft. Normally I draft more like towards the end. So that was the first time I was, and we don't really know in the Gentlemen's League who's going to draft number 1 until the league. And normally I'm probably working and I get off and then I jump in. It's like, oh shit. So like last year I got off work and I jumped in the draft, and I think we had like 3 or 2 minutes till the draft time started, and I just got in to make sure I was ready, and the thing was like the notification was like you're on the board, number 1 pick, and I said, oh shit. Well, my number one draft pick was going to be, or my first round draft pick was going to be Josh Allen, because I thought I was drafting at the end, and now I have 30 seconds to pick a player other than Josh Allen. I was like, well, fuck it. I'm just have to make up with it in the second, third round. I'm just gonna take Josh Allen right now because I literally had like no other plan for the first round other than draft Josh Allen. And last year it worked for me technically because the Bills were really good. Even though Josh Allen had a lot of turnovers, in our league, Josh Allen was putting up 40-point games consistently for the most part all the time.
Yeah, everything was good until that UCL injury in the elbow happened, and it kind of did change things because that it tempered the value of Stephon Diggs and what was left of Gabe Davis by that time. But Gabe Davis also had an ankle injury last year that kind of messed with his value a little bit, at least for that season. He kind of got forgotten about in a lot of these rankings this upcoming season. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. A lot of people, a lot of new faces, new places too. So it'll be very interesting now to see a guy like TJ Hawkinson who got traded last year.
Mm-hmm.
And, now let's really see, now that he's had a full offseason with the same team again, how that goes out. The whole Jonathan Taylor thing, which, by the way, there are six teams that are currently interested. A couple of teams, two, I think 2 teams have already like submitted offers because the Colts gave him till like Tuesday or some shit. But on that note, let me say this. I've thought about this, and I'm like, and all the other shows have talked about it too, and it's like, bro, Jim Irsay just needed to shut the hell up.
Jim Irsay been needing to shut the hell up for a long time.
Like every single sports show that I've watched, even First Take, like even Stephen A be petty as shit. Actually, he'd be like, I don't really be knowing when Jim Irsay talk. I don't know if he's all the way there. He'd be kind of shaking when he's talking, and I'm just like, it just reminded me of that whole incident that just got swept under the radar that people forget about with Mr. Irsay. They found him in his vehicle with all the prescription pills and all that other stuff, but everybody's argument is the same when it comes to this running back thing. Like you have to take care of those tier 1 guys because there ain't a lot of them. But in my mind, it should be like that across the board. If you're top 5 in your position in the NFL, you should be the highest paid in that particular position. Period. I don't care what the position is, because that means like, and I'm not saying like you were in the top 5 for one season. I'm not saying that. If you're consistently a top 5 guy in your position, when it's time for your contract to be renewed, extended, whatever the case might be, you should be compensated. I'm also not saying running backs need to be paid like wide receivers being paid $20 million a year. I'm not saying that. But I can understand a contract of somewhere between $13 and $15 million a season. I can see that being reasonable.
At this point with running backs, I think the rookie contract that because what it normally is 5 years for the rookie contract on basically all positions. Mm-hmm. The running backs rookie contract at this point should be shorter because owners are really taking This happened to Zeke. But Zeke eventually he did get his money, but
but realistically, a
he's the
team can
poster
hang on to a
child.
running back for 7 years.
Zeke is now the poster child for just because an NFL contract is not guaranteed unless they give you guaranteed money.
Yep.
And it's not like the NBA. So yeah, Zeke might have signed this contract. What was it? 94 million or whatever it was. I can't remember the exact number.
Something in that ballpark.
Over 5 years or whatever. But they can cut him as the Cowboys did and only have to pay him what he was guaranteed in that contract.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you don't want to sign the contract, they franchise tag you and you're stuck there for another year, and they can franchise tag you again. You're stuck there again for another year.
You're stuck there if you sign the franchise tender.
Oh yeah, but but if you don't sign the second year, I think it's optional if you sign the franchise tender, right?
The first year. So if you don't sign the franchise tag, nothing counts yet. Once you sign it, now if you sign that and hold out, after week 8, like if you don't show up after week 8, there's some kind of something's like null and void. Like it does something crazy where basically you won't get paid at all. Like you'll get absolutely no money.
Contract.
Like we're dealing with that with Chris Jones right now for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's currently still holding out. Josh Jacobs may or may not be ending his holdout. I don't know. We'll see. Of course, we know the whole Jonathan Taylor thing. We know Austin Eckler. Excuse me. And I'm just like, in my mind, right? I'm like, if I've got a guy like that, like an Eckler, a Jonathan Taylor, a Josh Jacobs, a Derrick Henry, like if you have one of those guys, why are you so hesitant to pay him? Oh, well, the Chiefs won a Super Bowl with a 7th-round running back. Well, yeah, because when you're in the upper echelon part of the league, you don't get a shot at those players. So you're kind of you're searching for gold, and sometimes you can search gold. Now, I will say this: there was another. Was it still? I think it might have been NFL Live. It was either NFL Live or it was The Herd, one of the two. But they said over the last like 10 years or some shit like that, something dumb like that, over 50 running backs have run for over 1,500 yards. And I was like, well, that argument hurts running back. Because it's like basically what you're saying is anybody can go out there and run for 1,500 yards. It's really what you're saying. But
think about all the running backs that couldn't.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, there's also that same argument that teams that have a running back like that, they're usually not a part of a Super Bowl team.
You're right.
But there's a reason those upper echelon teams don't have that guy, because they weren't bottom feeders who drafted those guys up there like that. Just imagine, because Jonathan Taylor was, I believe, a 2nd-round running back, I believe.
I think so.
Just imagine for the sake of discussion, what if the Colts don't take Jonathan Taylor, and let's say the Eagles take him in the 2nd round, and he's the Jonathan Taylor that we know now. So now what's the argument? If Jonathan Taylor was on that Eagles team last year, are you telling me they don't win the Super Bowl? Given what they have, given what they currently have, if they had Jonathan Taylor instead of, even if you want to take Miles Sanders out and say you have Jonathan Taylor, 1,800 scrimmage yards, you telling me they don't win a Super Bowl with that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, just throwing it out there for those who, yeah, cool. Isaiah Pacheco did his thing. Yeah, Isaiah Pacheco wasn't a bad running back. Go watch his film in college. He's not a bad running back. He looked good. Yeah, he played for Rutgers. I
think a lot of people that watch sports forget that it don't matter if you really go in the 1st round or the 7th round in football. If you get drafted to the NFL from college, you are one of the best players in the nation. And because there's so many players taken, people forget that.
Until you get labeled as bust.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's think about it. We just had a former 1st round or 1st overall pick, for that matter, get named QB1 again for now his 3rd team in Baker Mayfield.
Skip is somewhere pounding the table talking about, I told you that 11-game stretch that he been talking about for 3 years now or 2 years, whatever it is now.
Speaking of Skip, have you seen the latest undisputed rumors?
No.
I'm going to drop these names on you because I was literally just watching this before we got on. Rachel Nichols, Keyshawn Johnson,
Oh, yeah,
Michael
I did.
Irving.
I did. Yeah,
these
did.
Are names.
I didn't know about the Rachel Nichols, but yeah.
And of course, we already knew about about Wayne being a rotational person, but
him and
but you've got those three, and then you're still gonna have Nick Wright make his appearances sometimes, and some people are like, all right, it ain't gonna be bad. It's still not Shannon, because now all of a sudden Shannon's gonna be making appearances possibly on First Take. I say possibly because until I see it, it's all alleged, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking forward to it when it happens. However it happens, whenever it happens, I enjoyed watching Undisputed when it was on TV. So now it's kind of been weird because the show that I was like, I can't stand it because it seems dumb, is the show that I ended up watching more because I didn't have a choice, and that was in the Carden show. And I'm like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Greg Carton's not that bad. He's actually kind of funny. He's very brash. He's very New York. Like he's very, well, Jersey, wherever the fuck he's from. But he's very much that. Like, he's very brash. Like, he started off the show and he was like, actually, he's one of the reasons why I'm wearing this jersey today, because this is how we're mourning those fuck ass Yankees who were on that 9-game losing streak. So, and I'm upset too. I'm also upset because I had a chance to go watch the Red Sox and the Yankees play, because the Red Sox and the Astros, because they were here. Red Sox were here. And there were some good games. And I because of work, I couldn't go. And I wanted to cry because I could have been there wearing this jersey with my last name on the back.
I could have been next to you in the Astros jersey.
And it would have been fine because there were some good games played. There were some home runs hit. There were some good games played. And the Red Sox are kind of dangerous right now. They're just kind of creeping. And the Yankees are not. And the Blue Jays are just kind of hanging out.
The Yankees are just falling. It is.
I'm sure you've seen the stat. The fact of if they lose their 10th game, the fact that it hasn't happened since 1913 is the craziest fucking stat I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what's even crazier. This is what's even crazier is, I believe, I think it was on the Herd. When he read it off, he was like, it was a year after the Titanic sank. That's fucking crazy. That's bizarre as shit to think about. Like, you're like,
damn, so baseball old as shit.
Yeah, like Babe Ruth wasn't there yet. Like, Babe Ruth was like a couple years before. Like, Babe Ruth was like, what, 5 years after this, give or take. Like, Babe Ruth was there for a while, but he was like 5 years after this. But I'm like, to know that the Yankees have been good for so long, that they've made the playoffs 24 of 29 years. It's pretty good.
That's tough.
But here's what I will say. I don't give a fuck. Y'all deserve it. All right? Everybody's team has to suck eventually.
Yes.
Even Alabama Crimson Tide had times when they fucking suck. All right? Everybody.
You talking to somebody that is a fan of the Astros, boy? Those were some hard years.
Yeah, but it's seeing those dominant teams finally come down to earth. I'm dealing with it with the Patriots. We're down to earth. We regular. Some people will be like, "Oh, y'all, the 4th best team in your own division." Yeah, for now. We'll see how the season shakes out. But it happens. All right, there's nothing wrong with it. It's okay. There was a point in time when the Broncos were like this, and the Cowboys. So get this. So we know we talk shit about those Cowgirls, right? And it's been like 24 years or some shit like that since they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, since 96, 97, one of them.
96. So they haven't been to the NFC Championship in 26 years.
Yeah, that's how long it's been since they've been to the Super Bowl too.
Like, I was just like, No, their NFC Championship thing is like longer than their Super Bowl run. Like I was like, this is just, but that's just crazy to think about. Like you've had, and then just think about it. Think about from the last Super Bowl to now. Just think about all the Cowboys teams we've seen, right? All the talent.
Joey Galloway.
Like all the talent. You had Tavon Austin. You had Rocket Ishmael.
I forgot they had Tavon Austin. That's crazy.
You had DeMarco Murray at one point. You had what's his name? He had the dreads, the running back. I had his name in my head too.
Hey, by the way,
you had T.O. and
hell,
you
had
Roy
Williams.
And you had Roy Williams.
Dez dropped it.
I mean, but and then as far as you
had Romo, you had Bledsoe. Like, bro,
you have Dak now. Dak ain't even sniffed a third round playoff game. We barely sniffed a second round. Barely. The Niners got in that ass. Something about the Niners and the Cowboys. It just
Jason Witten. Probably the best, a top 5 tight end since I've been born. You know, it's like this is. I don't even know what to say. Hell, even after your Super Bowl appearance last time,
you let players go and they go win Super Bowls. DeMarcus Ware leaves, goes to the Broncos, wins the Super Bowl. Like you had Greg Hardy at one point on your roster.
Oh, I forgot about Greg Hardy.
It's just funny that you had him. He wasn't going to make a difference. It was just the fact you had him on your roster. It's just like
they're wasting Martin's career as a center,
without question. And yet and still, you're thinking about all these teams. The fact that 2 teams in your division have been to the Super Bowl and won.
Well, I can't really say shit. I'm a Texans fan,
but you don't count in this particular argument simply because y'all were an expansion franchise.
Yeah.
And you've just never had stability.
Yeah.
You haven't. You truly haven't. I don't care what anybody says. Even when you guys initially had David Carr, Andre Johnson, and all these guys, did you truly have stability? No, because you fired your coach in Gary Kubiak, and Gary Kubiak left and won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, but you've the crazy thing is you've had iconic marquee players. You had Andre Johnson and you had D-Hop. You had J.J. Watt, your best defensive player of all time.
God,
you had a guy like Whitney Merciless who was very consistent.
D'Amico Ryans.
You had D'Amico Ryans, who's currently now the coach. You know, like you had Brian Cushing, who was constantly injured.
Will Fuller. Will Fuller's going to be very good.
You had you had Arian Foster.
Oh man, I forgot about Arian. You know what though? I mean I count Arian Foster, but I don't. Just simply for the fact
count him because he was an undrafted guy who became a star for you guys.
He was a star for us for like 3 seasons, and then the injuries just.
But I mean, who would you say, being the resident Texas fan, who would you say is the franchise's best running back that you've ever had?
I mean, the area.
Like this is legit. This is why I'm asking. This is like a legitimate question. The argument is there for Arian Foster. You can't say Dameon Pierce yet because he's only in year 2.
No, but there was oh shit. I thought Ron Dane was going to be like the it for us, but we didn't have an offensive line. He's probably the most talented we've had. But he didn't have a better career than Arian Foster. Who's the second guy? Dominique. Oh man. I can't think of his last name, but he was running back when Gary Kubiak first got there, and I just can't think. But he ran. He had some good seasons in there, and then another guy I did like, and the Texans' offensive line sucked, was Steve Slayton. Steve Slayton was talented as shit, and the Texans' offensive line sucked. He still ran for 1,300 behind that trash ass last place offensive line.
I mean, look, that unfortunateness of that franchise. I mean, it ruined David Carr. I wouldn't be surprised if David Carr has some kind of like PTSD from getting hit so much.
Oh, he does.
2 years.
He does.
Because you got hit like, I think he was sacked. It was like 60 something times his first year, some crazy number like that. But then you were sacked at me, but he was hit like damn near 100 times. And in the second year,
he broke his own record
better.
3 times.
Like if I'm a quarterback and I'm set up, boom, I'm like, bro, I'm getting hit. Like, bro, what the fuck? I just touched this ball. But you know what? That man got a Super Bowl ring.
He does, and he got it from the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
listen, two of them.
I'm not even like mad at that man because I'm like, you know what? I would wear them motherfuckers.
I would too.
Fuck.
I was there working out and taking reps and all that shit.
Even if I was leading the scout team offense, shit, I was doing something.
If Eli is really like the Iron Man other than Brett Favre.
Okay.
So, but we just saw what Chad Henne did when Patrick Mahomes went down, and he led a drive and scored a touchdown. Who's to say David Carr wouldn't have came and done the same thing if something would happen to Eli in one of their runs?
I'm with that.
I forgot Chad Henne was even in the league anymore. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah,
they were like, here comes Chad Henne. I was like, what? Yeah, so you want to get into this crossover?
Hell yeah.
Let's do it.
I miss crossovers. Now, before I start this crossover, I want to give a shout out to my boy Charlon Clark because he actually is the reason why I came up with this idea. All right. You know what? If it came from Charlon, that means my expectation just went that much higher. One of these days, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not trying to take no thunder from DJ Micah B right now. One of these days, we're going to get Charlon on this motherfucking show, and you're going to understand the type of friends that we have. Because you want to talk about a full-fledged clown who is also a music connoisseur.
Yep.
Like that guy.
Hell yeah. All right, so let's get this thing started. Theme songs, man. I know we talked a little about the theme songs today, so let's hit my favorites. Okay. WWE theme songs. Some of my favorites. I only got 5. These are not my absolute all-time favorites, but I think everybody recognizes these. And just an honorable mention, do you smell what The Rock is cooking? Because he did not make this 5. Because I kind of pick songs where I feel like you believe the person or the character actually made the song. So we're going to start it with number 1, Crank It Up. I did not know the song was called Crank It Up until I looked it up. The Big Show. Y'all know it. Well, listen, you can't tell me you can't see Big Show singing this song.
I feel like I can see him doing it drunk at karaoke.
I think so too. Next up, everybody knows him for singing this song, but originally it was what's the Great Cherry? I think that was her name. Originally sang "Sexy Boy" for Shawn Michaels' first time when they introduced the song. Shawn Michaels, HBK, "Sexy Boy." I think we all know the he sang his own song.
I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy.
There you go. Number 3, it has no words, but I feel like this guy would go hard on the drums for his own theme song. Or matter of fact, he'll just break the damn bottle, and that's the glass shatter. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh yeah, he's slamming a 40 ounce on the ground for that.
Yeah. Next up, we got a lot of people love Voices in My Head, but I am still a fan of Burn in My Light. Randy Orton, when he first came to WWE, fit kind of what you would expect from a rock singer lead singer. Okay. So I always get a vision of him singing Burn in My Light. And he recently came on and said on a podcast.
I can get with it. I mean, I personally prefer Voices over that one just because.
And that's what I'm about to say next. And with Voices, the latter part of his career, he looks like he could sing that one too.
Well, it's not even that. It's like he encapsulates that persona of that song.
Yep.
Like that song was on my workout playlist. That song had me in the gym acting a straight fool.
Yeah. And then, of course, y'all know I can't leave without talking about the American Badass. The American Badass looked like he recorded Rolling. Keep rolling,
even though it was Kid Rock,
rolling.
But yeah. I feel like he should have been in the music video.
So, Yeah, he should have. He most definitely should have. Everybody was doing this damn dance from the
Mm-hmm.
jumbotron. So why did I bring up theme songs? Because here in the United States of America, we have a theme song called the national anthem.
Oh,
And
this is
after
interesting.
all these years, it is time to replace that motherfucker. I don't care what nobody got to say. It's time to replace it. And let me, for those of you that don't know, there was a part in the national anthem that referred to slaves being killed. And the reason why and the history behind it was the British was offering slaves to fight with the promise of freedom if they won the war. So it goes, no refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the groom of the grave. And then, of course, in the Star Spangled Banner, in Triumph doth wave over the land of the free and home of the brave. So Francis Scott Key wrote the song whenever he was in captivity or whatever you want to call it, and he still saw the flag waving, and that became the inspiration for the national anthem. Blah, blah, blah. We know how that shit go. So that's pretty much what it was. I had to read up. I was like, I get it, but I wanted to read up more so I could understand more. And the author of the article was just like, look, hey, black slaves were given the opportunity to be like, you fight with us and we win, we'll give you freedom. So now it's time to pick our new theme song for the United States of America. I have 5 songs that I think that would be better.
It is to me.
It's not gonna be. It's I try to make it make sense. All right. So starting off at number 5, let's just go with the easy one. God Bless America. Pretty simple song, 2 verses, but very simple, but it gets the job done. I don't see why that would be a bad new national anthem. Okay. So next up at number 4. Here's one that you can relate to because you were in choir with me. ROCK in the USA. ROCK in the USA. ROCK, and you can have the Army's choir sing it or the Marine choir. Have the military choir sing it, jam out. I think everybody would be okay with that one. Number 3, probably the most beautiful song I've ever heard in my life, from the words to the production, America the Beautiful.
Phenomenal song.
The Army's choir rendition of America the Beautiful is like absolutely great. And I put a slash next to I couldn't remember the name of the song, but I wrote the His Truth is Marching On. I could Glory, Glory, Hallelujah, which was my other honorable mention.
Another great song.
Going into number 2, God Bless the USA. I think everybody know when that song came out from 9/11, that should have been our new national anthem. From the hills of Minnesota to the shores of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston to New York to LA, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the man who died, who gave their right for me. That is like I feel like that's probably the best song that you could probably choose to replace the national anthem.
I'll speak my piece after you drop your list.
Number 1 first, I'm gonna say Charlone's pick. Charlone's pick is absolutely hilarious. Charlotte said the song that should replace the national anthem, Mo Bamba by Sheck West.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
Oh man,
I'm gonna leave it at that, because when he come on the show, he's gonna have to defend that. I'm just gonna leave it at that. He's gonna have to defend that.
Hey, he had a very good defense about it too. So
I know he does. That's why I'm gonna leave it at that.
And then number 1, which is the one I originally picked before I picked God Bless the USA, but I really feel like people would jam the hell out to this. I Am a Real American. What? I am a real American. What? Hey, you put Hulk Hogan on that stage.
Plenty of movies.
That's the one. That is the one. But there it is.
But speaking my piece on Proud to be an American, that is on a short list of songs for me in particular, that when I hear it, depending on what the hell I'm doing or where I'm at, can draw a level of emotion out of me that only like very few, and when I say few, I mean less than 3. Because obviously for me, like my all-time, we'll say tearjerker. Let's play that game. Tearjerker is Taps. Taps will always be that song.
Oh yeah, we can't have Taps be the national anthem.
No. I'm just speaking for the sake of the emotional value of a song, or I hate to use the word song because it's really not a song, but we'll say an anthem for lack of a better term. But and that for me, because of obviously the life I live now, like that song, I heard it when I was younger, but it didn't have the same value that it does like now. Now I hear that song and my brain starts thinking about things, and I'm like, it hits you in a different place. The national anthem does one of those same for me, because of obviously the life I live and the things that I've accomplished and done in this life. Just because, just like this being a music guy, just like I am, music changes through circumstance.
Absolutely.
And circumstances will make certain songs hit your heartstrings a little bit harder than they would have prior to the traumatic thing that happened or whatever it is that happened in your life. But Proud to Be an American is a hit. It's a hit. And I agree with you. I would not have been surprised if after 9/11 that became the new national anthem for the US, because it fits. Because when they first played that song at the NFL game, along with the Star Spangled Banner, it was just like the energy was just different. And it was a beautiful thing because that particular song, brought unity.
Yep.
And that's the part for me where it made the perfect sense, because I hate that it took something so traumatic to bring unity in this country, but the unity that I saw as a young child, being a 6th grader when 9/11 happened, was amazing, because growing up, that is not what the fuck I saw. You didn't see this. Neither one of us saw this. I was in Baytown Junior and Theater Arts class when 9/11 happened. And I can tell you right now, being a young black man, that is not what the fuck was going on in Texas in 2000.
Definitely not.
It was not unity. I tell you that right. Not entirely. But after 9/11, boy, things was real different. Like, but it was like, I don't know. We have a weird country. I'm not even gonna go into a tangent like that. But for me, it would be that song would be my one. If I had to choose one, it definitely would be that one.
That would be my. I put Real American just because I did the WWE theme songs, and that's what kind of drew my crossover in.
Yeah, so, but I just feel like Proud to Be an American is like it has transcendent qualities, because you can transcend that across all races. I don't bring the word race. I don't bring race into very many things, but that one song transcended all color. There was no color attached to that song.
Absolutely.
It really was. It is a beautiful song. In my mind, it felt like there was no color tied to that song. I just saw the flag. All I saw was Americans. That was it. That's all I saw. I saw nothing but Americans. Any video rendition of that song you see is purely Americans. All colors, genders, all that stuff. It's beautiful.
A particular song like that, it growing up, you hear I guess as a kid, you don't really appreciate it as much whenever you hear like, well, these people went to war and that's the reason why you're free. But then you get older and then you have friends that actually like you, with you going off to war, and then while you were gone, I heard that song and I was just like, man, I hope I never have to say I'm happy this man gave his life. It was very emotional when I thought about it, because I heard it at school one day and I was like, man, I hope that never happens. Did I have to sing that song and think about you? So, man, but when I do hear that song, though, it's just 9/11, and hell, still today, the war on terrorism is still on. Like, it's still on. So,
for the most part, done.
But that particular war, yeah. But you still got other places where America is like the world's police force, and people in the military still die every day, and a lot of times you don't hear it, and it's crazy to think. But hey, that was the one song I felt like at one point in American history, it wasn't the national anthem that brought us together. Really, it was
a brand new song.
It was a brand new song. Even that's the reason why I lean a lot with that one if they were to replace the Star Spangled Banner. And like I said, I love America the Beautiful too, because I feel like that song transcends color too. But the meaning in Proud to Be an American / God Bless the USA is very nice and deep.
Yeah, no, that song.
I forgot the person that wrote that song. I forgot his name. I meant to write it down and I looked it up earlier today. But
we've heard so many
phenomenal
different
job.
versions of that song too.
Yeah. But there you have it. The crossover is back, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm with it.
That was damn near good enough to be a crossover in Real Talk.
It was pretty damn close, I tell you that much. But before we get to ironically, before we get to the Real Talk is actually going to be tied to our Dumbass Millionaire segment. I'm just gonna do it all together. I'm just gonna do it. I really wanted to separate it, and then I was like, nah.
Knowing what you're going to talk about, it doesn't need to be separated.
It was so much easier to just make it into a Real Talk / now I'll make my this person will be on the wall of Dumbass Millionaires, but it will also be, it ties into a Real Talk, and it just does. But before we get to that, you got any shout outs? Because we haven't done that in a while either.
Yeah, we haven't done shout outs in a while. Yeah, my first shout out is going to go to, well, actually my only shout out, I know my birthday is tomorrow, but for those that y'all don't know, the fan of the punk ass Jets named CJ, his birthday is on the 25th. So my shout out is to him. Happy birthday, my brother. Hope you live to see many more.
I like it. And I have two. They're very simple because they're not two people, it's two groups. So my first shout out goes out to every single Leo out there that celebrated and brought forth another phenomenal Leo season, to include myself and my daughter. So,
and my mama.
And my mama as well, who just celebrated hers too.
Yep.
And my brother, everybody's happy. One of my day ones just had theirs too. But also I want to bring forth the new season that is around the corner. Virgo season. This is an early shout out to my Virgos out there. I love my Virgos. I have no hatred towards any of my Virgos whatsoever. I never have any hatred towards my next door neighbor. So I hope y'all have a phenomenal season, just like we just did from Leo's season. I hope y'all turn the fuck up. And I hope y'all bring it, because I don't want to talk too much about the season that comes up after y'all. Brings up bad memories. And I'm going to leave it at that. And here we go. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm going to make a hybrid video, and I'm going to put Dumbass Millionaires and Real Talk into one video. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm going to let my creativeness figure it out. But at the beginning of this, we're going to talk about this Dumbass Millionaire. So first and foremost, welcome to the Dumbass Millionaire wall, Miss Lizzo. You are here. So you have arrived, and you've arrived twice. You have arrived as Lizzo, and you have arrived as Miss Melissa Jefferson, aka your government name. So that way everybody knows who the hell you really is. For those who didn't know that was her government name,
I damn sure didn't.
A long way. A Google search goes a long way. So she goes on this fantastic wall of Dumbass Millionaires because it almost doesn't make sense. So I apologize in advance if you don't know this story, but it actually makes no fucking sense of why this is happening. But she is currently being accused of sexual harassment and fat shaming. Yeah, I said it. I said what I said. Sexual harassment and fat shaming. How? I'm going to get myself in trouble today. I feel it. How in the hell can you, somebody who is not small, shame somebody else? Please make that shit make sense. Last time I checked, you ain't small. You ain't even medium. You still kind of like a Route 44 cup from Sonic. I tried. I tried.
Boy, this is one of the times I wish Moo was on here. Oh my God.
That's disgusting. My daughter just brought me a old chicken nugget. Ma'am, that's gross. We're not gonna eat that. Give Daddy just a second. He's going the hell off. So let's dive into this story because you brought it to my attention, and this was like a long time ago, and we were too busy with all the other things, so we didn't really have time to dive into this. But it's been a while, and it's still ongoing. She actually released a statement like as early as 3 weeks ago, like trying to defend herself and saying that the individuals who were fired were told that their behavior was inappropriate and all this other shit. And I'm like, none of what you said takes away from the fact that sexual harassment and fat shaming came up in this conversation.
Facts.
Nothing you said. You didn't apologize, none of that. But anyway, let's get into the story. So, shout out to BBC. And no, it doesn't mean what you think it means for all you raunchy thought process folks out there. This is BBC, the news website, not anything else. Take your dirty ass filters and throw them bitches in the trash. You nasty son bitches. All right. Unless you was talking about me, then I'll accept.
Shut up.
So the article was dropped from BBC News, and basically 3 of her former dancers are suing her over claims to include sexual harassment, also creating a hostile work environment. Mind you that Lizzo is a performer, entertainer, whatever you want to look at it. She was on tour when this happened. So she has backup dancers and all those other things you need, a light crew, producers, all the things that a musician needs to have a successful tour. So these legal actions included accusations of sexual, religious, racial harassment, discrimination, assault, and false imprisonment. Now, I don't know how false imprisonment tied into this. I read like a couple different stories, and none of that part tied into it. That shit just sounded weird. But the story kept adding layers. The more I read a couple of different sources, I was like, this shit is fucking crazy. So on the surface, right, we know when you see something like, oh, sexual harassment and fat shaming, that pulls you in. Then you start reading, you like, so when I saw religious harassment, I was like, wait a minute, did you religiously harass somebody? So then you read into this story, and that particular part wasn't Lizzo. That was her producer, her head producer of the BGBT, which is Big Girl Touring. Big Girl Big Touring. Sorry, I apologize. Whatever the fuck that means. It's spelled girl, like it's spelled GRRRL. So I guess girl, how they be saying it in Ebonics. But anyway.
All right.
So the president of that particular 4-letter company, corp, whatever the fuck, was very Christian. So she was pushing her Christianity on these dancers. And apparently the fact of someone's virginity was called into question and was pushed out on social media. Okay, this is 2023. If it makes social media, it's going to show up on a court document. Stop it. So basically, she was pushing that and the fact of people like, premarital sex and all this other stuff. And I'm like, listen, I go back to my previous statement. It's 2023. It's a lot of premarital sex going on. Call a spade.
Like a lot.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, finding a virgin in 2023 is finding a unicorn. I'm not saying that to throw shots at anybody. If you are still a virgin,
that's pretty dope.
For your partner, kudos to you, big time, because that's just not the world we live in these days. Just gonna call it what it is. So anyway, back to this. So she responded, but she ain't really respond. She kind of gave a coach speak type answer. So I was like, whatever. So the three dancers who were let go, Miss Ariana Davis, Miss Krista Williams, and Noelle Rodriguez, all former dancers. They were also so a big thing with Lizzo is she liked to bring in the girls that look like her. She wanted to bring in the body positivity. So she brought in the more, I'm trying to find it, the more the heavy set women like herself, because I don't like calling people fat. Like,
heavy set is the right word. Yeah.
Unless we're having a roasting session, then I'm a light you smooth the fuck up. But more of the heavy set side that were like her, And so she was on tour, and basically what happened is one of the dancers was struggling with weight, which again, was one of those things that just didn't register in my head.
Still don't register in my head.
But she was called out for her weight gain by Lizzo, and I'm like, well, ain't that calling the pot calling the kettle black? All right, whatever. It's gonna let that be what it is. But in the world of dance, right? Just like in the world of modeling and parts of Hollywood, for women specifically, when you start bringing the big W word, that is a trigger word. Like, especially in the modeling and the dancing world, the big dub is not something that they want to be associated with, because they spend so much time holding a particular look, whatever that look is. But the last thing they want to be told is, oh, you look like you put on a few pounds. That shit will crush somebody in that particular industry. But we also live in the world of social media, and unfortunately, I don't blame social media. It's not social media's fault. It's our fault. Like, our generation was brought up on these magazines where these women all looked a certain type of way. And, they all looked what was defined as perfect, whatever the case might be. That was their version of perfect. It wasn't you or I's version of perfect, but it was what they assumed or thought was perfect. So then, you started seeing the more voluptuous, the more thick women that was thick in the right places. And it was like, oh, that's not right. That's not attractive. Not attractive to who? Shit, I like yams.
Shit.
You know what I'm saying? I like a little Cornish hen. I ain't gonna say no.
He said a little Cornish hen.
I ain't mad with a little suffocation. But and then as time went on, it became more normalized to be, now all of a sudden the thick women, as we like, thick with two C's, saying triple C's, was now put on Front Street. Like, we were idolizing the mode, the thicky thicks, as we called them growing up. And then as we got older, now we insert the plus size. That was actually the actual, what's the word we use? Political term. Let's call it like that. So that was the word. And then all of a sudden, we had the plus size push that came through, and we started, idolizing and celebrating the plus size women that came in, and we're still trying to break through in these industries like acting and like modeling and like dancing and all this type of stuff. And look, kudos to anybody, man. If you're talented, you're talented. I don't care what you look like. If you can do it, if you can do it, do it. All right. Don't nobody complain about nobody when it comes to the music industry. If you can sing, you can sing. I don't care what you look like. We've had everything from blind to plus size singers. 100%. We've had them all. We had 2 blind piano players that were phenomenal. They made movies about both of them. But anyway, I'll go back up where we were at. So back on this religious part, I just wanted to read this part because I was like, God, dog. So she was accused of openly discussing one of the former dancers' virginity and literally posting about it. This is Miss Quigley. That's the dance team's captain. So she pushed her Christian beliefs on these people. And I'm like, see, here we go with that shit again. All right. Stop that shit. All right. We had a conversation about that on the pod before. Stop that shit. Stop pushing your religion on people. Stop pushing your beliefs on people. Stop pushing your views on people. Like, your opinion is yours and yours alone. I don't care. If we're discussing it and I ask you about it, by all means, be passionate. Do your thing. If I ain't ask you about it, it's called unsolicited. It means don't bring that shit around me because I ain't buying what you selling. Point blank. There was also somehow, some way they talked about racial discrimination was going on. And I was like, what? So let me dive into this part. This shit gets crazy. This is where the story just started making turns. So it alleges that the black members of the dance troupe were treated differently from the other members of the team. They were being accused of being lazy, unprofessional, and having bad attitudes. And these claims in troops are often used to disparage and discourage black women, and that other dancers were not treated like this. I'm like, all right, now let me back up. This now starts to fall into that Uncle Tom blame game now. Because why do we have a black musician who has a mixed group of dancers on stage, The only people that are getting any kind of discrimination are the ones that look like you, the performer. There's something wrong with that. There's something terribly wrong with that. I don't know who the auntie in this situation of Uncle Tom is, but we're gonna come up with a name for it. We're gonna, you know what, we're gonna say Auntie Tanya. How about that? We're gonna say use Auntie Tanya. That ain't cool. That ain't cool. So basically, this is when shit gets, this is the worst part of it all. So these dancers were also vastly underpaid. They were being paid 25% of their weekly pay as a retainer during the time they were on tour. And they were also told that the company preferred them not to take other jobs during the breaks. What? So you paying me 75% less than I should be getting paid. And you tell me not to take any kind of other jobs. How the fuck am I making a living? Unless that 25% is six figures, I'm gonna go do what the fuck I gotta do.
You know, a certain acronym comes to mind whenever this case has been brought to court.
Is it FRFO?
Yes, because Lizzo and her team fucked around and they about to find out now.
So now you might be asking yourself, how does this segment tie into the Real Talk segment? It ties in very simply. Don't let fame, stardom, popularity, whatever the case might be, even power for that matter, turn you into a bigger asshole than you need to be. Just because you got all this stuff doesn't make you better than anybody.
Where's Shannon Sharp?
You 100% can be humbled by somebody below you. But just like I said when I did my From the Sideline Chronicles interview, like my mom always said, take care of those that take care of you. If you would have taken care of your team in this on tour, which is when most, I learned this, when most artists truly make their money is on tour. It's why certain people go on tour, and like a group like fucking U2 been killing the game and they finally stopped going on tour because there was a point in time where U2 was making like 10 and 20 plus $1 million on tour. That shit's crazy. Taylor Swift's, recent tour where she was paying all the staff and everybody like $100,000. Like, you know how much money you got to be bringing in to pay your guy that's pushing the carts $100,000? That's crazy. But anyway, so now you got this individual that's on tour and paying all of their people less. In what world? You realize you don't just show up on stage and perform and it's great. There's so much stuff going on behind the scenes. There's so much, you being the artist should know, there's so much rehearsal going on. You and the team practicing late hours, just like being an athlete. It's not what you do during practice, that shit you do afterwards. Like, your team is probably going back to the hotel room, still thinking about the routine. Probably watched it. Y'all probably recorded it. They're probably watching it. They're basically studying film to perfect this craft. And you're going to undermine and underpay them while they're on tour with you? While they're away from their family, their friends, possibly their kids, their spouses, whatever the case might be, and you're going to underpay them. But you expect to get 100% effort from 75% less payment. Pay me 75% less than what I'm supposed to be getting, and I'm going to give you that same 25% effort that you're paying me for. I just might trip and stumble a couple of times during that dance routine.
That acronym comes into play again.
Like, I don't get down with that. Like, that doesn't, you can't be like, you can't be a millionaire and not take care of the little guy, the little gal, because you didn't get there 100% on your own too. You didn't. You 100% didn't. There are people along your journey that helped you get there. You just gonna forget they exist? You just gonna shit on them? Oh, I did this all by myself. Oh, I worked all these hours. Oh, I did. Yeah, you probably did, but you still had help somewhere. Even if somebody just simply gave you a piece of advice that changed your life. Yes, I know that rhymed, but guess what? Sometimes that's what makes people go.
Bars.
A little rhyme goes a long way sometimes. So I'm curious. I normally don't give two fucks about what happens in Hollywood. I usually don't. I'll be watching this case because I'm curious to see, one, if it truly goes to court. I want to see if it goes to court or if it gets settled out of court. I'm curious because if it does go to court, I actually will tune in and watch the court. I want to watch the deposition live because I just want to. I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. No, I'm not calling her a horse. Maybe, possibly. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
I'll say I don't even know where to begin with to dive into this. I guess I could start by, I don't understand the false imprisonment, but there is a situation, and I don't know if they're going to put that in false imprisonment along with the sexual harassment, where they were in Amsterdam and Lizzo basically made her backup dancers do some questionable things inside of a strip club because, you know, prostitution and stuff is legal there.
The titty touching.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm pretty sure it'll come out eventually that she wasn't going to pay her dancers and stuff if they didn't. And it kind of was like she wasn't going to pay her dancers and stuff if they didn't do that. I mean, that can be viewed as false imprisonment because you're holding them against their will.
And it's also 100% harassment.
It is. The girl that's a virgin, that is definitely sexual harassment. The lady shoving her religious beliefs down everybody's throat and try to make them. Man, look, I'm a Christian. You know what I'm saying? And I tell people this all the time. I don't care if you're not a Christian. If you want to know about it, I'll tell you about it. I understand the importance of duality. You know what I'm saying? People, Eddie Griffin kind of said it the best I've ever heard it, where he was like, it's throughout most religions, it's the same thing. Throughout most religions, it's the same thing. Everybody just have different beliefs and everybody call their God a different name. Right? So, but
unless you're atheist and you don't call anything by anything.
Right. So, I mean, just this is why if you're a Christian and you want to spread the word, people don't want to hear it most of the time now, because I mean, you try and force feed and shove it down their throats. And to be completely honest, a lot of Christians, and I hate to say it like this because I am a Christian, just trash ass people. Your religion does not make you a good person just as much as being an atheist makes you a bad person. And you makes you a good person, a bad person. And there's a lot of trash just people. And we have this case. And apparently the Christian that we're talking about forcing her beliefs and stuff, trying to force her beliefs down their throats, is a horrible person. Clearly a horrible person. And then we got Lizzo fat shaming.
That part.
I don't even. The crazy part is, I just backed Lizzo on one of these on Dumbass Millionaires a couple of weeks ago behind Roseanne's comments. Now
we're going back to that.
Now I got to do a whole 180 and be like, well, damn.
I don't know who actually looks worse in this situation now.
Like,
actually, no, I lied. I know exactly who looks worse in this situation.
This is crazy. It's like, I can't be black and tell somebody I don't like black people. That shit is just unproductive.
You mean it's Uncle Tom?
Yeah. It's not productive. It's stupid. It doesn't work. I'm a bigger guy. I can't look at you and call you fat. I'm fat. It's the stupidest thing in the world. The only difference is
you can't call a spade if you look like a diamond.
Exactly. Like it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Like, you might be bigger than me. Okay, cool. But I mean, come on, man. I think this is going to be settled out of court, because the last thing I think Lizzo wants to do is go to court, and her publicist is probably sitting there telling her, settle out of court. Do not go to court and lose this case. If you go to court and lose this case,
well, and she's already lost, and this is only important to this current generation. She already lost like over 150,000 followers on social media,
right?
And the three women have already been on like Good Morning America, like they're doing interviews, so they're literally pushing their story out there of what happened, and you know, The truth will come out eventually. Surprisingly, I'm surprised there's no videos out yet.
Yet.
And if boy, let there be a video of that whole strip club incident. Oh, it's a wrap.
What if I don't like to bring up the Deshaun Watson thing, but what if there were NDAs signed inside this strip club?
We'll find out.
Because it is overseas, and
it is,
so
but we'll find out, because even if an NDA was signed, it at least say, hey, well, we are not allowed to disclose because we signed NDAs. Like, that has to be said so that the attorneys understand that it can't be talked about. So we'll see. Only time will tell.
I hope this thing isn't settled outside of court.
No, I actually legitimately want. I don't get into a lot of things, but if this goes to court, I'm gonna be like recording this shit on Hulu and be like, well, there you have it.
Dumbass millionaires. You should probably just go ahead and run that slide one time since you did the real talk first.
Since you act so nice.
Yeah.
just because it had to be done. But
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have another episode of Gentlemen's Talk. But I will leave you with this. The upcoming round of 32 is going to be our 32 male actors of all time. Not of the 90s, not of the 80s, not of the 2000s.
All time.
We're going of all time. We're going back a little bit. We ain't going back to like we're not going to the Dark Ages.
We're not going back to the Wizard of Oz days or Gone with the Wind days.
No, we are at least going back to we are going back to the Sean Connerys and things of that nature. So the John Waynes, Morgan Freeman, young Morgan Freeman, not old. Well, in this case, young and old. So be on the lookout for that. Young Jack Nicklaus and old Jack Nicklaus. Robert De Niro, young and old. Robert Downey Jr., pre and post fuck up. Christian Bale, all these guys. We're just going down this list. I think we have a pretty good finalized list.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna tell y'all what it is. You'll see when it comes. But tune in, because you ain't gonna want to miss it. You will see another section of 4 of us tearing it up, doing what we do best, debating, having a grand old time. I'm looking forward to it. Mike already told me who he was gonna be fighting for, and I know who I'm gonna be fighting for, so it's gonna be fun.
Yes, Calissa, we hear you.
You know what time it is. She is already telling me what time it is.
Yep.
But
right before we sign off, I'm going to pose one question to TikTok, since our TikTok has so been interactive. I was asked this question today, so here it is. I'm not going to answer it on air. We're not going to answer it on air, but what I want to know is, do you guys think Sean O'Malley has next in the UFC? Comment on the TikToks and let us know your thoughts.
Interesting. Well, I am the 2023 Father of the Year, Mr. GQ.
I am the birthday boy, DJ Micah B. That is Calissa.
You know it. And we are.
When I'm in my zone, I feel like I'm alone. I feel like I'm unknown to the world that's full of clones. My originality's focused on principalities broken. I'm loaning my heart and soul to the game that's scared to pay it back.